We often describe ourselves as living in the most complex strategic landscape since the end of the Second World War. And we are witnessing the biggest conventional military build-up that we have seen, and it's happening within our region. We need to respond to this. A failure to do so would see us be condemned by history.
The AH-64E Apache attack helicopter is said to be the most advanced attack helicopter operating today. And the Australian Army is close to receiving the first of its 29 Apache attack helicopters this year, replacing the Tiger Armed Reconnaissance Helicopters. But why are the Tigers being replaced? Are the Apaches that much better, and will the Australian Defence Force even have enough members to pilot these aircraft? Let's fire up the engines and take to the skies, because today we're talking tactics. Australia seems to be in the process of upgrading all arms of its defence force at the moment. We've got new M1A2 Abrams main battle tanks, infantry fighting vehicles, the Ghost Bat drone, and you might have seen my last video about the Navy increasing its surface combatant fleet to the largest it's been since World War II. But we're not stopping there. The Army is in the process of upgrading 2 of its helicopter capabilities. The Army's Black Hawks are being upgraded to the new AH-60M Black Hawk helicopters. 40 of these were ordered in 2023, and as at September 2024, 10 had been delivered, with 2 more expected before the end of 2024, and the full 40 choppers scheduled to be delivered by 2030. And the Eurocopter Tiger Armed Reconnaissance Helicopters are being replaced by the Boeing AH-64E Apache helicopters. Let's take a quick look at the Tiger helicopters before diving into what these new Apache choppers can do. The Tigers. The Australian Army's Tiger Armed Reconnaissance Helicopter is a 2-seat attack helicopter developed by Airbus Helicopters, designed for armed reconnaissance and close air support. It has a maximum speed of 315 kilometers per hour, a range of 800 kilometers, and an endurance of nearly 3 hours. It's equipped with a 30mm cannon and 750 rounds, 8 AGM 114 Hellfire 2 missiles, up to 4 Mistral air-to-air missiles, and 70mm FZ rockets. It has a range of sensors, radars, and missile approach warning systems, but it lacks a fire control radar, limiting its ability to track and engage multiple targets simultaneously. Australia is replacing the Tigers due to persistent reliability, maintenance, and capability issues. The Tiger struggled with low availability rates, often below 50%, high sustainment costs, and software integration challenges, making it difficult to keep mission ready. And the Tigers will be withdrawn from service in 2028. In 2024, Ukraine's ambassador in Australia revealed interest in acquiring the retiring Tiger helicopters to help in the ongoing conflict with Russia. This follows their request for the grounded Taipan helicopters, which was rejected by the Australian government. But there hasn't been any word on whether the Tigers would be donated to Ukraine as yet. The Apaches. Land 4503 Phase 1 is the project that is undertaking the Armed Reconnaissance Helicopter Replacement Program. On the 15th of January 2021, then Minister for Defence Linda Reynolds, CSC, announced that 29 Apache AH-64E helicopters would replace the 22 Tigers. The Apache Guardian is the most lethal, most survivable, and lowest risk option, meeting all of Defence's capability through life support, security, and certification requirements. This model was chosen specifically as an off-the-shelf operating system with proven ability and maturity, which would avoid any ongoing cost and schedule risk typically associated with developmental platforms. Airbus had offered 22 upgraded Tigers and promised to save Australia $3 billion in acquisition costs. However, that was rejected in favour of the Apache purchase. So what can they do? The Apache AH-64E is said to be one of the most advanced multi-role combat helicopters in the world, with over 700 of the E variant models delivered globally. It's designed to destroy armoured vehicles, personnel and material targets. It is 14.68 metres in length, 4.72 metres in height, and has a rotor diameter of 14.63 metres. It has a maximum operating weight of 10,432 kilograms and a top speed of 279 plus kilometres per hour, powered by twin turboshaft engines, each with about 1,700 horsepower. It is crewed by two, a pilot flying the chopper and a co-pilot / gunner who operates the weapon systems. The helicopter can be fitted with the AN/APG-78 Longbow, a fire control radar system produced by Lockheed Martin and Northrop Grumman. Mounted above the rotor, it enables target detection from cover, can track 128 targets simultaneously, engage 16 at once, and share data with other Apaches and ground units. Its weapons include a 30mm M230 chain gun with up to 1,200 rounds, 76 70mm air-to-ground rockets, and 16 Hellfire missiles, typically the AGM 114 Hellfire missile. It includes advanced satellite communications and a Link 16 tactical data network. Link 16 facilitates the near real-time sharing of tactical data between military aircraft, ships and ground forces, while also enabling the transfer of text, images and voice messages. And notably, the Apaches can connect and control armed drones through its crewed, uncrewed teaming system. In the US, Apache pilots have controlled the payload, sensors and flight of unmanned systems, such as the Grey Eagle drones, right from their cockpits, up to 100 kilometres away, and even fired its weapons. Australia is pioneering the use of teaming drones with the Ghostbat Loyal Wingman program, so perhaps in future we'll see Apache choppers teaming with these Ghostbats. Australian Army pilots are already beginning training with the US Army to transition from the Tigers to the Apaches, learning the controls of the aircraft, but also an understanding of how allies employ the weapons and tactics while flying them. The helicopters can be used for a range of missions, including direct attack, but also reconnaissance, battlefield situational awareness, and close air support. They can see and detect at ranges further than they can shoot, and due to the high volume of incoming data, the US employs a formation-based approach, typically deploying a troop of 4 Apaches with a mix of longbow radars and upper receivers for optimal target acquisition and coordination. The first Apache helicopter is scheduled for delivery this year in 2025. How will they support Australian industry? The Apache helicopters will be purchased from the United States under a foreign military sale. This is different to the Tigers in that the design was purchased from Airbus in Europe, but then they were manufactured in Australia. In fact, right here in Brisbane. So while it's a shame that the helicopters won't be constructed here in Australia, the benefits that come with the Apaches would seem to outweigh that. According to Malcolm Davis in an article from the Australian Strategic Policy Institute, moving to the Apache also gets Australia into a very large user community, including many partners and regional countries such as the US, Singapore, Indonesia, South Korea, Japan, Taiwan, and the UK, which has benefits for interoperability, opportunities to learn from other users, and shared logistics. He also lauds the Link 16 data system, which would enable it to share data with and be commanded from platforms such as the Air Force's E-7A Wedgetail and the Navy's Hobart-class air warfare destroyers. So it does seem like the Apaches were a better purchase than sticking with the Tigers just because they were built in Australia. And Australian companies won't be fully missing out. Boeing Defence Australia has been contracted to support the Australian Defence Force's future fleet of 29 Apache helicopters, creating over 230 new jobs in Queensland and strengthening the local defence industry. Queensland is becoming a major defence hub for Australia. Additionally, Boeing has selected 5 Australian companies to supply parts and components for both Australian and global markets. That's a win for Australia. Defence recruitment. In our previous video on Australia's Navy increasing in size, we mentioned the difficulties in defence recruitment across all parts of the Defence Force, and it generated a huge response in the comments section. With an Australian federal election looming in 2025, we have an opportunity now to put forward ideas that will enable us to reach our recruitment targets. An idea that I'd like to see come to fruition is a renewed focus on school leavers, with a particular focus on a 3-month Defence Force cadetship. This could be a program that conducts basic training completed from December to February before any tertiary studies commenced, and cadets would receive a $25,000 cash payment for completing the program. This would be a great head start in life for young people, giving them the opportunity to continue on with the ADF or allowing them to complete a trade or university after completion of the program with $25,000 in their pockets. Even if only a small percentage of those cadets continue on to the ADF, we would have a broader base of people with knowledge and skills in defence. Plus, this casts a wider net in the recruitment process, potentially finding new recruits that may not have initially considered a career in the Defence Force or might not have wanted to sign up for a longer term basis. But what do you think? Are you happy about the Australian Navy's acquisition of the Apache helicopters? Is there a different capability that you would have preferred we acquired? Do you think the ADF will find enough recruits to pilot these choppers and, for that matter, crew the ships in the Navy or fly the aircraft in the Air Force? What do you think is needed to increase the recruitment effects? Do you think the Albanese government has done a good job with defence? Would Peter Dutton's Liberals do a better job? I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments section down below. If there's a topic that you'd like me to make a video on, let me know about that as well. I'd love to make all viewers feel like a part of the community that we're building here, so if you're keen to contribute ideas, please do so in the comments. I do read them and I do make videos on suggested topics if it seems like there's some interest in them. Thanks to those of you who have reached out offering models for the background of my set here. I've got a few on the way, but I'll hopefully rotate them around depending on the topic of my video. So be sure to get in touch if you want to have your work or models showcased here. But that's it for today. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching. I'm Pikos, and we've been talking tactics.